Hi, my name is Rachel. I'm a curriculum developer and animator at Explore Learning, but today we're going to do an experiment with an egg. So what you'll need for this experiment is vinegar, corn syrup, water, a few containers, and some eggs. So the first thing we're going to do is dissolve the eggshell off of this egg using vinegar. So to do that, I'm going to put vinegar in this container. I'm going to put the egg in the vinegar. And we're going to leave the egg in the vinegar for about a day or two. I'm not going to cover it too tightly, just like that. So I've had these eggs dissolving in vinegar for about a day. You can see that the eggshell is going to start to get all bubbly, and that's because there's a reaction between the calcium carbonate in the eggshell and the acetic acid in the vinegar, and that's going to produce calcium acetate, water, and carbon dioxide. And the carbon dioxide is the bubbles that you see, and that reaction is what's going to dissolve the eggshell. So these were the eggs that were in vinegar. These two have been in red vinegar for 2 days. And this one has been in white vinegar for 1 day. I took them out of the vinegar and I rinsed them off a little bit. You can see that they're kind of squishy and a little translucent. That one's not so much. Look at that. You can see almost right through these. How cool is that? And they're kind of bouncy. Have you ever seen an egg without a shell before? That is cool. Alright, so now I'm going to put this egg back in vinegar for another day. And these 2 eggs, one I'm going to put in corn syrup, and the other one I'm going to put in water. And I'm going to add a little bit of food dye to both of these containers. Okay, so here's the corn syrup. Let's see, it's pretty thick. Oops, got some on there. Here's the water. And I'm going to put these back in. Push him all the way in there. Okay, and I'll check on these in another day or two. Now let's take a look at the eggs. So this one was the egg that was in the water. And this one was the egg that was in the corn syrup. So what happened? In the water, the egg absorbed all the water went in to the egg, and it got bigger and pretty blue. And in the corn syrup, because there was more water inside the egg than outside in the corn syrup, the water came out of the egg and went into the corn syrup. And that's an example of osmosis. Now let's use a gizmo to better understand osmosis. Okay, now let's use a gizmo to help us understand what's going on in the eggs. We're going to use the osmosis gizmo. So go to explorelearning.com, and in the Find Gizmos search bar, search for osmosis. And you want to choose this one, the one that's not a stem case or a handbook. And then click here to launch the gizmo. So let's use the gizmo to describe what's happening in the egg. So you can pretend that this box is the egg, and it has a semi-permeable membrane. So the membrane is only permeable to these green solvent particles, but it's not permeable to the purple solute particles. So if we pretend that the purple solute particles are the things found inside the egg, and the solvent particles are water. When you put the egg in water, let's decrease the solute outside. So I can't decrease it down to 0, but I'll make it pretty small so you can pretend that there's mostly egg stuff inside the egg. And then there's solvent, which is water, mostly water outside the egg, but then there's still a little bit of water inside the egg. So if you look at the concentration of solute is much higher inside the egg than outside the egg. So let's play and see what happens. So the egg gets bigger, and in doing so, it's trying to balance the concentration of the solute inside and outside. So that's what happens with the egg. Because there's not much water inside the egg and a lot of water outside the egg, then water rushes into the egg. Now let's see if we can model what happens in corn syrup. It's not exactly like that scenario, but we can get kind of close. So I'll increase the solute on the outside, and then I'll increase the volume of the egg so that you get a higher concentration of solute outside the egg than inside. So now we can pretend that the solute is corn syrup and the solvent is water, and we'll see what happens to the water when there's more corn syrup outside than there is inside. And click play. And you see that this time the water will rush out, causing the egg to decrease in size.